You're listening to the Soju Sessions, episode 57 on the Soju Talk Nation podcast feed. I'm your host, Crispy, also known as Crispy Wonton or simply just Anton. And on today's episode, GenkiBoi joins the show to discuss his K-pop origin story, how he found the Soju Talk podcast. Spoiler, he found it on TikTok. So shout out to Teresa and TikTok fan. Turns out GenkiBoi has a bit of a following himself, so please check out his TikTok account. It will be linked in the description below. It's just his name, so search GenkiBoi on TikTok, and you'll see all his content. I was going through it earlier. We talk about this later in the show, but you see his collection. That's all I'll say. Really cool guy, super chill. And then we get into some music discussion from some popular releases this week, specifically iKON, But You. I don't know who I am anymore. Apparently, I just like boy groups because I adore this song. And yes, of course, I had to talk about Psy, Celeb. We talk about Suzy. We talk about Suzy. I talk about Suzy. I talk about Suzy. Yeah. Great music video, fun times, and really cool just getting to know GenkiBoi. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy. Coming up, my chat with GenkiBoi on the Soju Sessions. Joining Soju Sessions today, a member of the Gochu Gang, a patron of the Soju Talk K-pop podcast, the one and only GenkiBoi. Welcome to the show, sir.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. I've been looking forward to this, and just Soju Nation and the Gochu Gang is something I really take seriously.
Nice, man. Yeah, no, it's one of those where I don't recall exactly when you showed up on the server, but you are part of the $10 patrons. So if you do make it to the very end of the episode, Warren shouts out all the top tier. I forget what category are you guys in? I think you guys are in
Fiesta, I believe.
Fiesta patrons? Okay, yeah. So you guys have your own special tier of support for the show. And I think your name is one of the first three. And it always stands out every time Warren says it because he has the voice modulator, and it's just this big booming GenkiBoi, and I'm just like, yeah, I need to get this guy on the show one of these days. So here we are, and yeah, just super happy to have you. With all that being said, you're a bit of a mystery on the server, to be honest. I see you pop in here and there, and you definitely contribute with your votes every week, to voice your opinion of which songs you believe should reach the top of the mountain with the Soju chart Spice King. But let's get your K-pop origin story. When did you first start listening to K-pop, and what were your first memories of the genre?
So I got into K-pop pretty spontaneously. I had a fascination with music, and I think one day I was like, oh, what are the Koreans listening to? What's on their charts? And this was 2016, 2017. So Red Velvet was one of the first things I ever heard. And I love it. I fell in love with it. And it's so interactive. There's so much content that you can just research and watch and absorb. And it's not like Western music, where it's just a song, And ever since then, I found more groups and took it more seriously. Started buying albums, lots of albums.
You've gone down the rabbit hole. I see.
Yeah, I'm well over 100 albums in. And when my favorites have a comeback, I buy all the copies. I have the photo cards and just involved. I go to concerts.
I am shook. Man, you are a true fan. This is incredible. Let's pull back a little bit into Red Velvet. What were some of the elements from those first Red Velvet days that drew you into K-pop that you can distinctly tell was very different from anything in Western music and Western entertainment? I know there's a lot of theories and delineations of why K-pop exists the way it does. It's a very visual medium. But what stood out to you in those first days of exploring K-pop?
Early Red Velvet was it's not like it is now. It was more high energy, and that wasn't what initially brought me in. But when I first saw Bad Boy by Red Velvet, I saw that video and I'm like, this is a work of art. And man, it's you start looking up the members and who they are. And my first person I noticed was Wendy. And I'm like, Wendy's got that amazing singing voice. And I, I something about it. You just want to come back for more. And then you start discovering other groups and like Twice and Mamamoo. Mamamoo was a really big one for me. And I'm still with Mamamoo.
Wendy is Canadian, Korean. She is fluent in English, and to me, I've always seen her as a bridge between cultures, right? Kind of a cultural exchange in the fact that she can communicate fluently with Westerners. She is kind of that Western standpoint where we can kind of say like, hey, like she can talk to us, but at the same time, she is so wildly popular in Korea, on the radio every week. What is it specific about Wendy that stood out to you? And do you feel like you can connect with the genre further because you have that language bridge between yourself and K-pop?
Initially, it was the English speaking, oh, I can understand her, and once I found other members that also spoke English, I don't know why, but like they're the first ones that I learn about. And with ITZY, Leah speaks English. Leah is, I think she lived in Canada.
Yes. Yeah. Her and Wendy have talked about being Canadian.
And I was like, man, you don't have to read the subtitles, I guess. That they can talk as themselves and you get to know more about them. But as Red Velvet kind of grew on me, I moved on to Seulgi more. Seulgi has that mysterious vibe, and she's such a professional. She's like a consummate professional in everything she does. And I feel like when I describe Seulgi from Red Velvet, it's like she's the master at Red Velvet. She's the vocal, she dances, and she looks in that camera and she knows what she's doing.
Amazing. You said you have over 100 albums. Take me through the growth of this collection. What was your first album, and how was it that you were able to kind of accumulate all of this amazing merch, pieces of history, memories from all these groups over time?
So my first album was a Mamamoo album. I think it's the pink one. It's got a piano on it, I believe.
Is it Piano Man?
It might be. Yeah, it might be Piano Man. Okay. It's pink and glittery, and that was my first one. And I open it up. You see all the pictures, the photo cards, and I want more. I want another one. I want to put it on the shelf next to the collection. So since then, I have every Mamamoo release, all the solos, all the albums. I have all of ITZY, all of Red Velvet, most of Dreamcatcher. Just, if I like a song, I'll buy the album. And that's kind of hard to explain to maybe a Western audience. Why would you buy the music when you can just listen to it? I don't even listen to the CD, but I still buy it.
We'll describe that. So what is it that you emotionally connect with when you buy a physical piece of media and then you get inundated with all of the additional pieces? So the photo cards, photo books, stickers, specific like trinkets that come with each unique album. What are the kind of the emotional checkpoints for you that make this a very fulfilling endeavor?
It starts from the very beginning, when you first buy it and that it's on the way, and then it comes in the mail, you unbox it, and it's a mystery. I never do the unboxing videos. It's always a surprise to me. So when you peel off that plastic and you see what photo cards there are, and maybe you get your favorite member if you're lucky, and then go through the book and see all the inclusions, and you can say you have it. It's something you can hold, and you can display it and tell other people about it. And when I see other K-pop collections, I'm always amazed because I feel like mine is small, especially within my community.
I think you're doing just fine. I think over 100 albums is spectacular. I would one day like to see some kind of display of all this. If you would be so kind to share, I'm sure everyone would love to see it in the merch channel. But yeah, no, there's something deeply rooted with collectibles, right? And this idea of collecting albums, but then connecting with your artist in the sense that you are supporting them in a lot of ways. And
Yes.
albums themselves are works of art, right? There's just so much that goes into it. Even though for me personally, I only have a handful, I don't really go back into them. It's the initial rush that's just, it's incredible, right? You open it and you just kind of go through all the motions, and yeah, man, no, that's
there.
But
Yeah, there is that emotional rush, and then most of the time you buy the album just to say you have it or whatever. But with some of my ultimate groups, it's got no point where it's like, I want to actually financially support you. I want you to have my money.
Yeah, and it's that connection that we make with K-pop, right? As K-pop kind of opens up into the real world again, tours are starting up. Twice and BTS have made their imprint over the past several months with live shows, selling out stadiums. But what is it about your experiences that has been most memorable for you going to concerts? And have you connected with your friends or new friends over that time?
So most of my interactions within K-pop have been very recent. I've just now recently found like K-pop communities in real life, face to face. For the most time, or for the most part, it was kind of behind the screen, or just listening. It was a personal hobby. But now, ever since I've reached out on my social medias more, and I even have a little bit of a following on my social media, but I've met fellow fans, and we just talk about it, and it's a shared knowledge that you can talk to someone about. And you go out to concerts, and there's 1,000 people that are just so happy to be there for the same reason.
Yeah, it's an incredible shared experience, right? Because everyone comes into it with their own personal histories, but they also in a lot of ways take on the history of the group that they follow, that they love, that they're there for, and they bring all of that together at the same time in one location, in a stadium, in a concert hall, and it's kind of a magical moment in a lot of ways, to get a little cheesy with it. You said you met some people recently through the internet and kind of seeing them in real life. How has that experience been for you? Kind of taking it off the screen and into IRL space. Go ahead.
For me, it's honestly pretty seamless. The way I present myself and the way my community also presents themselves, it's like I already know them. It's like, hey, I know what you look like. I know what you sound like. We've talked before. We're already friends. It's just you're actually here now, and maybe you have that shy attitude at first, but it's nothing too difficult for me.
Do you see a difference in the way people communicate online versus in real life? Because I know, the pandemic's been a challenge for everyone. I think people in a lot of ways have been longing to connect with people, either a real voice or a real physical person. And communication has changed over the past 2 years in the sense of you're essentially just typing something on screen and then reacting to someone else's typing. What are the differences you see now that you're kind of re-entering real world space?
It's more natural for me now, and my community that I hang out with most, we're not that typical like K-pop worship audience, and we listen to everything, and so we discuss music. But ever since pandemic, it slowed down for a bit, but people are getting back out and we're getting face to face, and I'm glad to be back
Nice.
in the physical K-pop sphere.
Yeah. In both spaces for me too. I started going back to the office and I kind of love it. I'm more productive in so many ways, and my office is flexible. They basically said come in and out as often as you'd like, so I'm coming in as often as I'd like. You said you're part of a community. Tell me more about the community, how you formed it, and just the general vibe of the folks that you generally interact with.
So I'd say my chief community is Tick-Tock, and it all started very spontaneously. I downloaded the app because I was bored, and I didn't even have a content in mind. I just swiping through videos, and I saw this other creator talking about albums, and I'm like, I have those too. These are my people, and I started using the K-pop hashtags and my favorite group hashtags, and then with TikTok, that algorithm gives you what you want. So now I'm just in my own echo chamber of TikTok K-pop.
Do you have a central hub outside of TikTok, or do you primarily communicate through TikTok?
TikTok is my content spot, but other than that, I'm on Reddit, but that's more of an information center. And then in person, I have meetups and like the cup sleeve events, I guess.
Nice. Do you create content on TikTok?
I do. I have. I'm not huge. I'm still under like 2,000 followers, but I have people that know me and people that enjoy my content. So that's all I need.
We have a community content channel that you are more than welcome to add to. Yeah, no, it's so you may not know, but essentially Doug, Warren, and Anita decided to have a central hub for community content, whether that's Soju Talk related, K-pop related, or just things that people do here on the server that's creative based. I use it just to post the Soju Talk Nation videos. Therese uses it for TikTok, and then the Dumpster Cast, who are very on and off with their episodes, come in and out, but they also post stuff there. It's been encouraged that other content creators do put videos or things that they work on in that channel, so feel free.
Yeah,
I think we'd love to see it. And then I know I would say the majority, if not like 95% of the servers on TikTok. So I think you can definitely increase the volume of traffic just by simply letting people know where to find you. Well, I'll link it here in the channel, in the description at the end here. But no, that's incredible. I would love to scroll through your TikTok for a few hours and see what it's like to see the world through your eyes. I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah, you might be pleasantly surprised, or you might just be like, "What is this?" You never know. That's actually
yeah.
That's actually why I'm here. I found you guys on TikTok.
Hey, nice. Well, go into it. So, what is your Soju Talk origin story? So, you found the main show on TikTok. What was that like? Kind of seeing the content cut that way, and then how did you continue on to connect with it?
So, I was scrolling through TikTok and I found the Soju Talk Reacts channel with Therese, and I'm like, the way she edited it was that it had Doug and Warren talking. And I'm like, man, these people are talking about K-pop. They have an actual show. I clicked the follow button. I listened to one or two shows, and I'm like, you know what? They deserve my support. Highest level contribution, Gochu Gang, Fiesta. I want my name to be shouted out. And here we are now.
Amazing. What's it been like transitioning from TikTok into the Discord space to talk about K-pop and the different personalities, the different channels, the different spaces, specifically here at Soju Talk?
The people in this server are so diverse. And, you know, I can either talk about my favorite groups with like-minded people, or I can talk about like sports. You know, for a while I was logging on to the Discord every time there was a Formula One race, and we were like live chatting the race. And it's like when tickets get announced for a concert, everyone's like announcing their results or forming strategies. And it's a very positive community. But I feel like this is kind of weird, but I feel like every time I comment on a thread, it kind of just like shuts down, and people kind of just like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just here at the wrong time all the time, but it's just something I've noticed.
I would say it's more coincidence than anything, to be honest. If it was me, because
Crickets.
well, well, from my perspective, I don't see as many conversations as maybe I should. I'm in very few channels only because I have very specific interest. For those that know, yes, I am a simp. Thank you very much. So I don't see all of the top conversation points, but I'm sure it's just a coincidence that, you know,
it is just happens. A coincidence.
I will just chalk it up to that. And if it's not, I hope everyone hears you and decides that you are an awesome person and wants to continue talking to you throughout the server. So I will just put that out there as well. With Doug Warren and Anita and their dynamic as friends, how did that interplay work for you as far as being a consumer of K-pop and then hearing commentary and analysis from their points of view?
It was very natural for me to, you know, understand what they were talking about and what they were saying. So once I learned the quirks and the personalities a little bit more, I got absorbed into it. And I learn about their preference within K-pop and what they like, what they don't like, and just their mannerisms. And I come back every week, you know, every Tuesday afternoon when I'm driving to work, put on that podcast, listen to Soju Talk, listen to what the gang had to vote on.
Is there any artist that you found through the show that you wouldn't have found otherwise?
Through the show, I wouldn't say. I absorb a lot of K-pop as a, you know, frontline consumer, I guess. But so maybe something I've been introduced to through the show was some of the competition shows that they like to watch. You know, like Girls Planet and you know, Street Woman Fighter. I wouldn't watch that if it wasn't for them.
Hey, shout out to the crew for exposing more people to amazing Korean entertainment and those shows, because I'm addicted. I'm having the time of my life with Queendom too. So yeah, that all goes to the community and the crew for kind of making that space available for us, and, you know, giving us moments and bits of exposure to different shows and different things like that. For me, as far as the server goes and the main show, if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be listening to boy groups. To be honest, one, they cover boy groups all the time, right? So for me, I'd like to at least listen or watch the music video prior to the main show, and then also because of the after show and just the other pieces of content that I have to put out, I do want to at least be a little bit informed. But it's come to a point now where I am genuinely enjoying a lot of boy groups, one of which came back this past week, iKON with But You. GenkiBoi, what did you think? How did the song hit you, and what are your initial feelings of iKON coming back with But You?
I had immediate feelings about iKON. Absolutely love the song. It's groovy, and it's a very easy listen. It's not a song that you have to think about or analyze. It you know, it comes to you. And watching the video kind of reminded me of like a retro vibe. I don't want to say Mago by GFriend vibe, because that's not right, but kind of that old school aesthetic.
Yeah, they definitely play into the synth pop. Very 80s, very dance 80s. I think Well, let's go with the song first. So the song itself is a very synth-heavy, pop-friendly beat, but I think the thing that's the strongest for me is the fact that the vocals play very airy and pair really well with the different ups and downs, ebbs and flows, highs and lows of the song, and it goes in and out really well. I think Bobby's rap is done really cool in a lot of ways. I think it's the best way I can put it, because it's just enough and it doesn't go over the top, but it fits perfectly kind of with this genre, right? The kind of the standout for me in the song is the last third of the song, where the tempo changes. It's a bit slower. It's a bit of a switch up to so there's some electric guitar in there. Initially, I didn't notice that. It was very seamless and smooth. And it plays really well into the vocalist at that point. I believe it's Bobby, Jay, and Song. It's very subtle, but I love the shift there. Let's talk about the music video. So the visual story is that it's, at night. It's at a club. It opens with some glitter, some space travel into the void. But overall, the theme is about love, or trying to reclaim, trying to find love, right? Finding love in a hopeless place, as Rihanna would put it, but hanging on to something that once was, and trying to replace that love. What did you think about the music video and kind of the visuals, the lighting, the very retro lights that they use with the strobes? And how did that make you feel?
It matched the song very well, and I enjoyed the video. It's a very shiny, lots of bright colors and neon, and even the choreography. The choreography was pretty straightforward, but I like that a lot. The arm waving and it looked like a very fun video, even for the background dancers. They're just having a great time.
Wow, you hit on two really amazing things. One, the choreo, very iKON choreo. So this is not a dig on iKON or anything, but the way that they structure their movements to the song, it's very flowy, right? You wouldn't think of them as just a performance group, or as strong as a performance group. I mean, we saw on Kingdom, they tried their hearts out, but in relative to Stray Kids and the other groups that were there, not the same. But with choreo like this, it works because it's a fun, light, bright song. It's very flowy. And the dancers you mentioned, that is YGX. Shout out to the YGX dancers. I have an irrational love affair with them. One, because they're incredible dancers, and two, I feel like I just need to be the flag bearer and to let people know that to check them out. They're not just YG dancers, they are actually choreographers throughout all of K-pop. So other companies hire them to produce choreography, and then they in those performances a lot of the times, male and female dancers. It's just, yeah, man, those dancers are great. What were your favorite? That was hard. What were your favorite visual moments of the music video? I guess mine is hair, blonde hair. DK, that's it. DK's blonde, messy hair. It's just when you first see that in the opening shot, and he comes in with those vocals, I'm just like, wow, that's a memory. It's a memory, and it sets the tone. Were there any standout moments for you visually with the music video?
So I feel like at one point in the video there was one of the members was in the back of a vehicle. Am I mistaken?
That's Bobby. So he's in the CGI truck.
He's in the truck, and that stood out to me, and it matched up well with what was going on with the sound at that time. But it reminded me of the K-pop trope that's currently going on with members being in the back of vehicles or ambulances, and I've noticed that quite a bit. So maybe it struck it kind of struck with me, there's the vehicle trope again.
Yeah, drawing threads and similarities to other things that have been used in the past, right?
Yeah.
For me, the other two members that really stood out were June and Jay. So there is a moment about halfway through the song where it becomes this very shadowy central member focus. I think it does start with Jay and you have the strobes coming in and out, different colors, and it's like this yellow and orange, and it just evoked all these memories of 2010, 2011 of like these types of clubs. So the way that the set looks, it's, you know, very clearly a set created to emulate like the outside, like the streets, right? The streets at night. But then the clubs, these are like the OG basement clubs from like the 2000s, the 2010s. And then like you have like the scaffolding, and then you have the lights. It's like the OG strobe lights. It's not like the super high tech rave ones anymore. It's just like all these things. The fog machines going.
Mm-hmm.
If the aesthetic was to capture like 2010 basement club, they absolutely nailed it. And
yeah,
I'm
and
a big fan.
It reminded me very strongly of a Mamamoo video. I think it's Windflower, either Windflower or Starry Night. The 4 members of Mamamoo go to the club, and it's very 2010s. Back alleys and streets and neon, and then I think they go to McDonald's and they buy ice cream.
It's very Mamamoo cheese right there. Definitely feel that. The last element of the song, the release that I'd like to touch on, are the lyrics. So it's a very love-focused song as far as being in love with someone but no longer being in that relationship. So you try to live your life using the liveness of the night, dancing, partying, falling into the arms of someone else to kind of fill that void to find new love. But throughout the story, they are continuously searching, only to return to the person that they once loved. 2 questions. How do you feel about the lyrics kind of matching a lot of the playfulness of the song, the music video? And have you had any experiences in your life similar to this?
I think the lyrics, I'm still trying to break that down, as you read the song more instead of like listen to it. But I think it matched the sound very well. It's very smooth, and but experience-wise, I can't say that I've had an experience quite like that in that sense. But it's a song I'll keep listening to for sure, and I'll break it down more and more and more over the next week or so as I listen to it in the car and maybe read the lyrics. I'll sit down and just read the lyrics without listening to the song.
Yeah,
maybe
man.
Understand it in that way.
Yeah, no, it's one of those where the lyrics play very universally to a lot of experiences, whether that's kind of that mid-20s period in people's lives when they're searching for love, or when you're coming to the end of your party phase and you're looking around and people are leaving the party. I feel like those 2 things are very evoked, not just lyrically, but also visually. I think it's just a really well packaged release. With all that being said, my final question for you is, did iKON low-key just start summer releases? Because I feel like we've been in a 5-year cycle of retro, synthwave, every decade from the 70s on, and I'm here for it. I want all of it. But usually that's the indicator that it's summertime. It's currently May 6th. Are we there, GenkiBoi? Is it summertime? Are we going to get now a cycle of all of these retro songs that are going to be popping off with high energy?
I hope so. I want music to continue back into this theme, and just retro K-pop is something I really enjoy. And I feel like recently, the way things have been going, K-pop has become more noisy. Maybe like aespa, NCT types, and I'm not the biggest proponent of noise music unless it's really well done, and I like synth stuff more. Just reminds me of something, even though I never experienced, the 80s and the 90s. I feel like I was there.
Right, there's a nostalgia that is simulated in a lot of ways. And I hope simulated isn't taken in a poor way. I think it's I mean, something can be simulated and still evoke the same kinds of emotions, right? Emotional attachment. Because again, it's how you tell the story. It's how you progress the story to connect with people. And to me, I freaking love this. I feel like I can place myself in a lot of these moments, even though I am clearly not a member of iKON and did not have their shared experiences of love. Although Bobby is a father, so I think his days are over. But I think they do a nice job of pulling a lot of emotions, whether you're really happy and really celebratory, or you get the introspection of what love used to be with the lyrics. So incredible release. All right, we got a bonus track to talk about this week because I unapologetically like what Psy does, in the sense that it's so absurd, it's so ridiculous, but the music that comes along with it works really well. So Psy had a song come out last week with That featuring Suga, produced by Suga. He also had another song come out this week called Celeb. And it's just him. It's just him being goofy and cheesy. But in the music video, there is a wonderful human being. Suzy Bae is in the music video. And I'm just taking this opportunity to talk about her for 5 minutes. Suzy Bae, if you didn't know, is an actress in South Korea. She's a former member of Miss A, so she's got some K-pop training. She has all the cheese, all the dancing, and she just really lives in the moment with Psy. My question for you, GenkiBoi, is how did Suzy Bae make you feel?
Happy. I really enjoyed this release, and I came into this release knowing what it was going to be like. Psy, he always knocks it out of the park. He gets hundreds of millions and billions of views, and his songs might be ridiculous and not musically the best, but it's a fun time. And I'll let you talk about this one a little bit more. I didn't break down Celeb as much, but I know that you're looking forward to Suzy.
Well, the thing is, so Psy has had a tradition of a different Psy girl for every release, right? And I think in this case, this is probably, I don't want to say the best version, but I think the most recent version of one that the Psy girl isn't just an addition to the song and music video. To me, if I'm watching this, Suzy is central. She is front and center of what is happening with everything, even though she has no singing parts. I think a lot of that has to do with her charisma and ability to just capture the camera in a lot of ways, because she's an actress, because she's gorgeous. And then she plays a lot of the different roles. The song itself, lyrically, is kind of this modern meme of what it means to be a celebrity today, right? With the internet space. What did you think about how the song plays into that, with the like button and following, and Suzy kind of being in the frame of a YouTube video? I think several I don't remember exactly which social media platforms were present, but I know she was definitely there, and then also receiving awards as if she was a award-winning actress in the music video, at least. I don't know. What did you think about that being the joke of this song?
I think Psy has been he's been in the scene for so long that he's kind of evolved through the social media. His initial breakout fame was on YouTube, and then since then we've moved on to other channels, or maybe TikTok, and what am I thinking of? Twitter. So he's had this ability to analyze how social media has evolved, and maybe give his commentary on it.
Yeah, and he does it in a really fun way. The main show mentioned something this week that really captured my attention. I think it was, I don't remember which two songs it was, but Warren said something to the effect of Psy has done one for the West, one for the East. I think it was I Love It and New Face were the two songs he was talking about. They were off the same album, but it felt like New Face was like the K-pop Korean friendly, like, oh, this is like the cheese, right? And then I Love It was the Western accessible EDM. My question for you: do you feel like that and Celeb are the West and East versions of what Warren was talking about, in the sense of that is now the Western friendly, accessible. Everyone knows BTS, everyone knows Suga, so this is going to be super successful. But if you're a fan of K-pop, or at least more leaning towards Eastern Asian sound of cheese, Celeb is for you. Do you feel like that is the case here with these two songs?
I believe so, and also an extension. The other songs, another side girl, I guess, with Wasa is, I think Mamamoo's fame and Wasa's fame is very within Korea, and so I feel like that's more of a Korean release too, as well. And then the BTS one is Western.
Let's talk about that Hwasa song for a second. If you have the title, please say it right now while I look it up.
It is Now. The song is called Now, featuring Hwasa.
Perfect. It's Now featuring Hwasa. You said something really interesting, that song is appeals more to the Korean public. Do you hear trot in that song?
Yeah, yes, I do. It's very 80s-esque, and it might draw on those traditional Korean sounds, folk sounds as well.
Okay, so the one that's just an incredible feat that Psy was able to take some of the trot sounds that I have heard just in random pieces of Korean entertainment over the past few years. I don't listen to trot, but I watch variety shows and they will play trot sometimes, so I recognize it, right? But then, like you said, he also blends a lot of 80s like synthwave music and disco, in addition to Hwasa, like, in her amazing husky voice. Gosh, I love this song. Why do you love this song, being a big Mamamoo fan? Because it sounds like you do. What about this song stands out to you the most?
It was seeing Hwasa in her element. That is what she does. Her outfit was great. Her choreo matched her vibe, and being a longtime Mamamoo fan, I feel like it's kind of a reward. I don't know, but Wasa is arguably the most popular member. Her releases have been the most popular. Her solos have been the top sellers. But seeing her in a video, especially in this time of Mamamoo, is something I can really enjoy. I don't think I'll be able to see a whole lot of Mamamoo in the future.
Speaking to her outfit, I had to pause it and just sit in the glory of what it is. So it's this blue, like dark blue, not dark blue, like a royal blue patterned outfit, right? And it kind of looks like a romper, like a one suit romper jumper. But if you look carefully, it's two separate things. It's pants and it's a turtleneck. And she looks gorgeous. Oh my God.
Yes. She looks great in whatever wacky costume she's presented with. She's been on the stage wearing a plastic bag before, actually. And I thought she looked nice back then.
Well, tell me about the cheese factor of this song, because you have Psy's cheese and you have the Mamamoo Hwasa cheese. How did that blend for you?
It was just, I can't really explain it. There's not really an official video for it, but seeing the two interact, there's a lot of cheese there, and it's a fun listen.
Yeah, it's not an official release, but it's this vertical camera shot, phone camera shot, like video, even though I think it was actually shot on a real camera. And it's them kind of on a soundstage, but the soundstage is set up as if it's used for something, right? Whether it was a photo shoot or whether it was set up for another music video. It's very clearly used for something else, but then also specifically used for this music video. So it's just, man, kind of wish it was a music video. Kind of wish he just like went all out, but we got what we got, and I will say that song is one of the more surprisingly amazing songs on the album. in the sense that it's so far down in the album that you're like, why wasn't this either higher or given its own music video or perhaps just the title track? But I understand why it had to be Suga. So, you know, good job, Psy. You're doing good things. Everyone, give the album a listen, because the album does a lot of different things. It's not just this Western accessible friendly sound. It's not just this hip hop sound, because there is some rap in this. It's not just cheese Psy, but there's some mellow music. There's some introspection. There's some vibey, sexy music. I mean, Crush is here with Happier, and then Tableau near the end with Forever it's a very cool Tableau song that Psy is on. So I best put that. Let's move into some closing thoughts. GenkiBoi. You know, the past couple of years have been very interesting and challenging for a number of reasons, right? But you know, with K-pop being so present in your life, one, what has been kind of the positive outcome of having K-pop, having a K-pop community help you through whatever it is that you went through over the past 2 years? And then I'll follow up with my second question afterwards.
So going through the pandemic, K-pop never really stopped for me. You know, there wasn't a shutdown. I didn't have to distance from it. You know, I was still able to get albums in the mail and talk with my friends about it. So, you know, maybe the music kind of slowed down. Concerts couldn't happen. You know, in-person events couldn't happen. But I was still able to enjoy it. And just, it got me through a lot, too. My love for Dreamcatcher really took off during the pandemic. And Dreamcatcher is, you know, something I live for absolutely now. So I'm glad that I was able to find them again.
Did that have any effect on your personal life, whether positive or negative, in the sense that, you know, we are so disconnected from, you know, reality, our friends, our family? Were you able to reconnect with your friends and family over K-pop, or at least give you a vehicle to talk to them about K-pop?
So I'd say during all of this, I became more involved in K-pop, and I became more vocal about it. I started telling more people about it, that they should try it and listen to it. And, you know, it's become something I talk about every day with like my coworkers. Even though they don't even listen to the music, they they listen to me about it. And I think my more involved coworkers are kind of on the very topical level of K-pop. They like BTS, maybe like Stray Kids, and then anything beneath that is kind of still a mystery for them that they have to find for themselves.
Trying to formulate this question, but you know, growing up, did you have interests that kind of mirrored what K-pop is as being a niche interest, right? For me, it's always been this parallel of growing up an anime fan, a comic book fan.
Right.
And then, you know, I'm old, I'm 90. So I grew up at a time when that stuff was very much not the norm, when in a lot of ways you were looked down on. I wasn't specifically bullied, but I do know instances of it being, of kids getting bullied, right? Do you feel like, you know, well, I guess, how do you feel like it's shifted since then? You know, growing up, you know, being interested in something very niche, you know, people perceiving it as weird and different, to now something that is niche in K-pop being wildly and widely accepted around the world, and with groups of people that, you know, historically just were not open to it in a lot of ways.
So, you know, growing up, my niche interest was along the same lines as yours. I was into the Japanese media, and I spent a lot of time watching. There was a show called MXC on Spike TV with the Japanese game show contestants hurting themselves, and I was fascinated with that. And then
I know this show. Oh my god, my brain is like flashbacks. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and I wish I could watch MXC again, but I had friends that also watched that show, so I had my discussion outlet. But it was, you know, with K-pop being kind of it was underground, maybe 10 years ago it was an underground thing, and it was kind of on the fringe. But now people are understanding why you buy the music or you support your favorite artists, and there's a lot of artists we can thank for that. But now I don't have to explain it to people as much. BTS and Blackpink have become so huge, and not quite household names, but if it's acceptable now to talk about K-pop more openly, I guess.
Yeah, very accessible in so many ways, right? I mean, BTS has just this long-standing relationship with late night television in the United States, right? And I feel like the demographics still for late night television are in the older range, definitely older than 35. I think like the 35 and 50. That's a broad demographic, I understand, but that is the population of folks watching late night television and seeing BTS, seeing Korean people on US television, which is amazing. And then to flip it to Blackpink, they are on Netflix. Sometimes they are on the front page. Even if you don't consume Korean entertainment, they're just there because it's a documentary about music. So I think that's an amazing feat in and of itself as well. My last question for you, sir, is, the world is opening up. We're going back out there. Concerts are a thing. You are going to add on to the list of all the amazing concerts and shows you're going to. I'm very jealous. Two-part. So what are you hopeful for? And what concerts are you looking forward to in the latter half of 2022?
I am hopeful for my favorite groups to find more success in comebacks. I want more Dreamcatcher, Red Velvet, Mamamoo. It's always something I look forward to and I'm hopeful for. And maybe more artists come to my city. And that kind of jumps into my second part. Dreamcatcher and Brave Girls are both coming to Denver, and I won't be able to see Brave Girls because it's on a Tuesday right after Dreamcatcher. But I think artists are recognizing my area as a good investment to hold a concert. So
yeah, no, it's amazing that Dreamcatcher and Brave Girls have expanded their touring locations, right? I think the other one that surprised everyone for Dreamcatcher was Kentucky.
Yes, Louisville, Kentucky. I thought they were going to the Kentucky Derby, but that's actually this weekend. So
would have been amazing timing. Would have been great. Although Louisville, in the United States at least, is a pretty well-known city location area, right? Like that. If you follow sports, if you understand like the significance of Louisville. So maybe they're playing into some of those pieces of demographic data research where it's like they found like, oh yeah, people connect with this type of music, which is like a rock sounding, anime sounding music in Louisville, Kentucky, which shout out to them for getting that tour date spot, because never would have imagined.
Yeah, you know what I find fascinating is the popularity of K-pop in South America. I think Card announced a tour down there, but maybe it's just my community. I have a lot of South American followers on TikTok, but K-pop is a religion down there. They love K-pop down in South America. Santiago, Chile, and Argentina are hotspots.
Yeah, shout out to Biff Miller on the server. He is from South America. He is always I don't want to say always on, but always one of the more prominent voices as far as getting people the news and information they need between industry news and following our favorite groups, his favorite groups. So yeah, man, definitely can vouch for the popularity of South America there. And Card historically has toured South America, so it's really good to see them on tour again, because for a minute there, it was kind of shaky with the lack of resources, the lack of touring for a lot of these groups. So hopefully the momentum picks up for them, and we get a I don't know, kind of a renaissance in K-pop as far as the smaller groups, smaller companies, right? So Yeah, man. It's all a net positive. All right, sir. Amazing conversation. Thank you so much for joining. Any closing thoughts? Any words of wisdom you have for the Soju Talk Nation?
Just keep listening. Support what you like, and don't be afraid to talk about it. That's all I can say. And I appreciate being here. I was looking forward to it. Highlight of my week so far.
Man, that means a lot. Yeah. No. Yeah. Full disclosure, I was going through the Gochi Gang list, and it's like I really don't know anything about GenkiBoi. I want to have him on. So that was my thought process, and I'm very gracious that you are here and you joined, because I got to learn a lot about you, and you're a cool guy, and I hope other people give you a chance. And when you say something in a chat, people will continue talking to you. That is the goal for today. All right. Yeah, thank you everyone for listening to the Soju Sessions on the Soju Talk Nation podcast feed. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and continue the conversation on the Soju Talk K-pop podcast Discord. For GenkiBoi, I'm Crispy, and this has been the Soju Sessions.